This is Hemant.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast to support this show and get your ad-free episodes, get your bonus episodes. We appreciate that. And Jess is going somewhere.
I am. I'm taking my first vacation in 4 years. We're going to the Pacific Northwest, and we are going to, we being me and my husband, not me and Hemant, and we are going to be at the Snoqualmie Brewery on February 21st in the evening. I have 7. That might change. But Snoqualmie is 30 miles east of Seattle. It's beautiful. It's in the Cascade Mountains. So yeah, that's where we will be. I would love to see people. I know it's probably a hike for everybody, but
if you're in the area, if you're in the area, check it out. And where do they find information?
Oh God. I'll keep Facebook posted, and yeah, probably here is the best place to get final.
All right.
Shit.
So we'll alert you closer to the date.
Yeah.
We have many things to discuss. Let's start with this story that I don't think I've seen many places. And I think the last time we talked about it was a couple of years ago, but I'm going to basically give you the backstory here and, follow along. It'll make sense in a little bit.
Okay.
1989. There's a guy named Paul Hart. He starts working for the Archdiocese of New Orleans.
Okay.
And at some point in his tenure there, he's in his late 30s, he meets a 17-year-old girl who attends Mount Carmel Academy. It's a high school run by the Archdiocese.
And he takes her on as a mentor because that's
that's what happens.
Acceptable relationship between an adult and a 17-year-old.
Yeah. She's a member of a youth group that his church runs, and it got exactly as disturbing as you would imagine. According to one news article about this, by 1990, he was allegedly spending a lot of time with this student, personal time. He begins, I'm not going to get into details, he begins sexually assaulting her.
Perfect.
Okay, as criminal as that was, the girl doesn't tell anyone what's happening at the time. She later said she didn't understand how inappropriate his actions were, which, by the way, is something a lot of altar boys have said. A lot of survivors of Catholic Church abuse.
Because when you're 14, you don't know how the world works, and you don't know that adults are not supposed to be doing this shit to you.
And by 2012, many years later, that same girl had grown up. She had children of her own, and she's still Catholic, and she still lives in the same area, and she is sending her kids to a Catholic school in the same archdiocese. But at this point, she finds out, wait a minute, Paul Hart, the same dude who she understood had moved around quite a bit during his career, he is now back at the church and is now in close proximity to her kids.
Oh.
And now, she's older now. She understands
How old is he?
Much older. But, she knows how egregious his behavior had been.
Yeah.
And she is now more come to terms with what happened to her. She now goes to the archdiocese and tells them what happened to her when she was a kid. She had not said anything publicly up to that point.
This is always the worst part of the story for me, is when she goes to the authorities to get help for her, and oh God, is this going to be terrible?
Well, she filed a complaint with the archdiocese. She accused Hart of grooming her before pursuing sexual contact, which she now realized was inappropriate. The church says, cool, we'll investigate this.
Totally.
And Hart...
The Scooby-Doo gang is on it.
Oh, yeah. Hart denies anything. He denies initiating what happened. He says there was contact, but it wasn't inappropriate. And he insisted, I am going to read this one. He could not say that the contact did not cause him to ejaculate. Yep. Disturbing.
Oh, God. Wait, hold the phone.
The church says, okay, so you had contact with this person.
And then you came?
You ejaculate? And he's like, I don't know.
Also,
it's really? The answer was no.
Also,
what? Ew.
I'm sorry. I did not realize that was the
bar.
The bar?
Yeah.
Not you touched a little girl, but you got no sexual pleasure about it. So it's okay.
Well, here's the thing. So that was maybe one of many questions they asked him, but essentially the church's Scooby-Doo investigation goes nowhere. What they end up saying is, it appears you did break our rules about celibacy. And that's it. You did not commit child sexual abuse. You know why?
Why?
Because canon law, Catholic law, at the time said the age of adulthood is 16. And in 2002, they said we should really raise it to 18.
No.
But the investigators were going by the rules the church had in place in the 90s when adulthood was reached at 16. So they said, okay, we think you did have sexual contact inappropriate with this person, but she was an adult by our standards. Therefore, we can't get you on that, but it does appear you broke your vow of celibacy. So, give us your wrist so we can slap it.
Okay. I have so many questions.
I have none of the answers.
Fine.
So the end result is that this guy remains a priest in the diocese. Because if you break the Catholic rules about celibacy, technically you haven't committed a crime. You just, say some Hail Marys and now you're back in. He wasn't fired, wasn't seriously in trouble. And because he had not abused a minor, later on, when the archdiocese is investigated for criminal child sexual abuse and they release lists of priests who have been credibly accused of that, his name is not on it. Because he, according to the church, did not abuse a child.
Because he came in his pants instead?
Pretty much.
I don't think...
Or not at all. He can't remember. Okay, that's actually not the story here. The story is this. In 2020, the Archdiocese of New Orleans files for bankruptcy because of all the lawsuits and all that.
Throne. Come on, guys.
So, now they're faced with these high costs of lawsuits that they got to pay out. There's a huge financial hit from the pandemic. They have to file for bankruptcy to try to salvage whatever they can and to shut down these lawsuits because they don't have the money anymore to pay them out, which is how it goes in a lot of these archdioceses. Basically, by filing for bankruptcy, they put a temporary stop to the lawsuits, and now it's up to the courts to figure out what are your assets, what are your liabilities, how much money do you have that you could pay out to the survivors. Okay, that's normal. We've seen that before. One of the attorneys who is involved in this case, who represents the victims in this case, is a guy named Richard Trehunt. Okay, remember that name. Richard is one of the attorneys working on behalf of the victims. He's part of a committee investigating the archdiocese. His job is to figure out their assets and liabilities and all that. And as he's going through the paperwork, I'm sure there's a ton of paperwork. He sees, it looks like someone made allegations against Paul Hart many, many years ago.
And this is our main character.
And he realizes, they didn't go after him for child sexual abuse because of the thing I just mentioned.
Which is wild, because if that's the Catholics, is the age of adulthood in Louisiana 16?
I don't remember, but
I don't understand why they get to make their own laws.
They get to make their own rules. But he also knew, because he is connected to the Catholic community in that area, he's like, Paul Hart, that guy works at a high school in the area today. It's called Brother Martin High School.
And there's no teenagers there, right?
Right. It's a high school with no teenagers.
Great.
He's like, well, that's an all-boys school. But, but girls are in the building for some extracurricular activities. And it turns out...
Girls' school probably doesn't have a gym.
And it turns out Trehunt's cousin is the principal of that school. So he's like, oh my God, I bet my cousin has no clue that this guy who works for them has been accused of any wrongdoing because it was never in the records. And he's like,
I'm a little nervous.
I got to tell my cousin that this dude is working for him right now and has access to kids.
God, I hope he gave him a good seat when he got married, because if you put your cousins at the B team table where I used to go, you're not going to get favors.
Trehunt sends a text message to his cousin, who's the principal of this school. Text message goes like this. Hey, is the priest still the chaplain at your high school? I'm paraphrasing. The principal says, yes. Trehunt says, you and I need to get together soon. The principal says, shit.
Oh, good.
Trehunt says, indeed. Okay, so very much like these guys, these are not the bad guys here.
Did they talk in a comic strip?
Yes. And basically the principal says that's an ominous message coming from you, because I think the cousin knows what his
what his job is?
Richard does for a living. So within days.
And you said this is a Catholic boys' school? It's
Catholic
not just
boys' school.
Okay.
And again, the issue was not, oh my God, you employed this guy who has access to boys, because as far as these people knew, this guy didn't go after little boys. He went after little girls. But again, like I said, girls do come to this school for extracurricular activities. Okay, fine. So the two of them get together, I assume. And within days of the school, the principal learning about Hart, the chaplain working at the school, they release a statement announcing his sudden retirement.
Oh, no. Did they give him a gold watch?
Yes. Both sides, like the church and all that, they said Hart is stepping down, like Hart, the priest, the chaplain, and the school says he's stepping down due to his ongoing battle with brain cancer, which apparently is a thing he actually had.
What?
And obviously the goal here is we don't have any paperwork that says this guy has been accused of anything. We can't go public and say he did something wrong because legally speaking, he did not on paper. So they're like, he's leaving now because of brain cancer. And the goal, I mean, is to keep the allegations quiet. But as a legal thing, you also can't really say anything else, I guess. But when it turns out the local newspaper, the Times-Picayune, they wrote, hey, the chaplain, am I saying that right?
I have no idea. I've never heard that word, and I don't speak French.
Legit newspaper. They're writing, hey, the chaplain is stepping down from this high school, which probably wouldn't be a big deal. But the reporter, his name is Ramon Antonio Vargas, when he wrote the story a little bit after this announcement came out, here's the opening of his story. The chaplain at Brother Martin High School abruptly left his post earlier this month, just days after the school was notified of allegations that he kissed and fondled a Mount Carmel Academy senior in 1990 while serving at another local Catholic institution, according to multiple sources with direct knowledge of the situation. Okay,
so news is out there.
News is out. The news is out. How the hell did this journalist know exactly what was happening when everyone involved appeared to want to keep this quiet?
I love this outcome.
Yes,
what a twist. What a wonderful twist.
The archdiocese clearly did not want anyone to know the real reason Hart was let go. Vargas seemed to have some inside information, and it wasn't until several months later, that we finally learned the backstory here, because for whatever reason, newspapers are going out of business. This guy maybe lost his job. I don't know.
Sure.
But he started working, or at least contributing columns to The Guardian, the UK newspaper. And in a piece for The Guardian, Ramon Antonio Vargas says he's writing a story about the Catholic Church. And he says that in his story, this is a story that happened in Louisiana. And the reason I was able to write about that is because I got a tip from an attorney named Richard Trehunt. Richard! It turns out when Trehunt alerted his cousin, the principal of that high school,
BCC'd everybody.
He emailed Vargas and I'm paraphrasing here, hey, I know he knows you write. He knows the journalist writes about the Catholic Church and knows all the players. So Richard texts like Vargas, I assume, and says, keep Paul Hart on your radar.
Deep throat.
So he doesn't explain anything more. He just says, hey, keep this dude on your radar.
And then they met in a parking garage in trench coats.
And Vargas starts digging into why is my source telling me to keep tabs on this guy? Oh, hey, here's a press release from the high school saying he's stepping down.
Whoa,
there must be more to the story.
Let
me see if I can tap into my other sources to figure out, is there something else happening here? And that's basically, he's a good reporter.
Yeah.
He follows his sources.
Yeah.
He's like, can you tell me anything about this guy? Is there a reason? And for however he does it.
Does he get all the way back to the
story.
victim?
I mean, I told you the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
He got enough of the story that he's like, I can go forward
Did
with
he
this.
interview the victim?
Don't know. He didn't say anything other than, I got a tip from that guy who said, keep an eye on this guy. And that's all Richard had said. Okay. When all of this came out as a full story in like this, it's now 2022 when all this is out.
Okay.
The judge who is in charge of the archdiocese bankruptcy proceedings, she says they're looking into this too, because she's like, the only way a reporter could have learned any of this is if someone working on the bankruptcy case leaked information outside of it, because how would anyone have known about Paul Hart and what he was accused of and what he did?
Right.
And that would have been a problem, she said, the judge, since all the documents are classified. If you're working on the case, you can't be leaking anything.
Right.
So the judge calls for an investigation. That involves interviewing the reporter. How did you learn about this?
How did he learn about this?
And the reporter did not rat out his sources, but he told the investigators who interviewed him, I promise you, Richard Trehunt, he didn't provide any information in this piece.
Oh, no.
He said the warning to the high school, but
Trehunt is the principal, right?
Trehunt is the attorney working on the case. The judge says, well, you warned the high school, your cousin. You told the reporter to keep tabs on this guy, Paul Hart. All of that violates your confidentiality agreement. Even if you didn't say more to the reporter.
Sure.
You were like,
just
wink,
flagging
wink.
his name was enough to...
Yes. And so the judge punished Trehunt.
Oh, good. I was worried about that.
She immediately removed him from the case, from the Clergy Abuse Claimants Committee. She removed him from the committee he was working on, processing the information. She also removed 2 other attorneys with whom he was working, and a few of their clients were off of their case as well, if they were working on this together. And then she said, I'm fining you $400,000 because that's how much it cost this court to investigate the leaks. And all of the people we had to subpoena and go after and talk to, all of that cost this court $400,000. That's on you. And the bottom line then is there was a $400,000 fine on Richard Trehunt, the attorney, for warning a school that they had an alleged sex predator on their payroll. And now he's the guy getting in trouble for it. So...
Well, the other guy has brain cancer, so I think God punished him.
Clearly. So Trehunt said at the time, well, I'm appealing the decision.
Yeah.
And he also said in a publicly available deposition that he acted like a mandated reporter.
Yeah.
When he learned about wrongdoing, he reported it to relevant parties to protect potential victims. And I'm quoting here, I don't believe I violated the confidentiality order by alerting a school about a cleric who had previously engaged in misconduct with a teen.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something about it 10 out of 10 times.
Attaboy.
Right?
That's the correct attitude.
He did what the church should have done a long time ago. He took action when he realized there was a potential problem, but because his actions violated the letter of the law when it comes to bankruptcy proceedings, he faced this staggering fine. And when reporters contacted the archdiocese, hey, what do you think about this fine?
Yeah.
They said, and I'm quoting, the wisdom of the judge's ruling speaks for itself.
Oh, that's
the wisdom.
I hate that.
Yeah. So whatever the legal situation here, Trehunt deserves
how much does
a medal.
How much does the guy who molested the girl get fined? Can you tell me?
$0 so far.
$0.
So whatever the legal situation, I mean, he did the right thing. He deserves a medal for it. Like if the morally correct option stands in opposition to the law, you have to respect people who choose, I'm going to choose the morally correct option.
Dog. And it's a great point about the mandated reporter thing. Like he was aware that children were in danger, not potentially like actively in danger. This man has a history of taking advantage of minors who are put in his care. Like it's, to me, the most insidious thing in the fucking world is when these fucking creeper teachers, priests take advantage of like the kids they are charged to help shape and mold. And they're like, ooh, free pickings. Ooh, which one am I going to mess up today?
All of this is a messed up situation, but it seems like everyone was better off because this dude spoke up and said something. Like if the Catholic Church gave a damn about the victims, they could be first in line to pay his fines on his behalf.
They don't care about the victims. They
do
care
not.
about themselves.
Like he did
and
them
their
a favor because they got rid of the potential sex predator before he acted, right?
As far as we know.
As far as we know. So the law... letter of the law may have been on the church's side. It doesn't mean the church should be reveling in victory, right? Like their response just shows you how little they care about potential victims.
Honestly, the church should not be taking any kind of victories off of anything because they're bankrupt. They're the bad guys. They're the bankrupt. Like they did not manage their finances and they could not keep their employees' hands off children. Like, sorry, your business deserves to go under.
And here's why I'm bringing this up today, because he did appeal that decision.
Of course he did.
And it went up to the mostly conservative Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. And this month, they upheld the decision to fine him $400,000.
Of course they did.
He tried to argue he was not given due process, that the bankruptcy court lacked jurisdiction over the matter.
Sure.
They abused their discretion by punishing him. And basically, the appeals court just dismissed everything. They said, you violated your confidentiality agreement. And when he was speaking to reporters right after that decision was announced, or at least after the oral arguments or something, he maintained, I would do it again in a heartbeat. He said, and I quote, I did what I had to do to keep a child predator away from children.
Honestly, yeah. And if this charade continues, I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to chip in for
Well, I haven't seen any GoFundMe for this guy so far. I'm sure, yes, if you put one up, I'm sure people would jump in line to pay the fine.
Though?
That's where we're at right now.
But the appellate court ruled when?
Last week.
Okay, so we're still early days. We're
early
just
enough. He could appeal this to the Supreme Court. It's hard to believe anything's going to change, though, because this isn't controversial on paper. It's not controversial. It's you broke the confidentiality rule. We're just applying that here.
I don't know.
But it is...
This all feels bad.
It is bad. I mean, it's a huge series of systemic failures, right?
Yes,
the Catholic Church showed self-protection over accountability and the well-being of kids. The bankruptcy proceedings became another weapon for the church to use to bury the truth and punish someone who actually did the right thing. I mean, if anything... we need more people like Richard Trahant.
100%. Oh my God, I want to grow up to be Richard Trahant.
Right? He treated credible allegations as an urgent danger, not some administrative inconvenience.
Yeah.
He warned the school. He indirectly tipped off a journalist. Mm-hmm. He decided the rules were not sufficient and deserved to be broken. That's the moral clarity that the church likes to think it's giving people, but never actually does. And I honestly, I don't even know if I'm mad at the bankruptcy judge. I don't know if her hands were tied, she had to do this.
It seems like judges don't really have to do that much these days. That's been my clocking of things. If they can just sort of be the vibes are wrong here.
What's the message, though, when it comes to legal priorities? A policy of secrecy always overrides child safety? Is that what we're working off of here?
100%. 9 out of 10 times, somebody's financial interests, especially a large company, a large corporation, a large group like the Catholic Church, their interests are always going to come ahead of the safety of children.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have such garbage schools in this country? Why do you think kids are food insecure in the richest country in the world? Because nobody gives a shit unless it's about their money.
Yeah. The church and the courts are sending a symbolic message to whistleblowers in the future. If you speak up to protect kids,
it's going to cost you $500,000.
Silence always rewarded.
Yeah.
But there you go.
What would you... If I sold this house and everything I owned, I do not think I could scrape together $400,000 in the next 5 years. If I truly went monk style living, I don't know where I would get $400,000. That's so much money to find a human individual.
Mm-hmm. And I've had a lot of people ask if the guy has a GoFundMe or something. And the answer so far is, I'm not starting one. I don't know the guy.
No.
But I don't think he has either. And I don't think one has been set up for him by someone close to him or anything. I think he's I'm going to keep fighting this for now.
Is this the guy who was working for The Guardian part-time?
No.
Oh.
This is the lawyer who was working for the
There's a lot
victims.
Of characters in this story. It was hard for me. I thought I did a great job keeping up.
You tried. Before we go to the next story, I'm thrilled to announce we have a sponsor for the show, and it's a group I've relied on for many years, the Pew Research Center. And the thing they do that I love the most as a guy who enjoys religion and statistics is the religious landscape study, which Pew has been conducting for nearly 20 years. With responses from over 35,000 Americans across all 50 states, the religious landscape study is a comprehensive look at faith, beliefs, and identity in our lives and country. It is the largest single survey the Pew Research Center conducts, and it aims to provide authoritative information on the size and characteristics of U.S. religious groups, because guess what? The U.S. Census Bureau does not collect that information. On the Religious Landscape Studies interactive website, you can find survey data by metro area, state, region, or for the whole United States. You can also explore the social and political views and demographic traits of U.S. religious groups. Pew Research Center conducts high-quality research to inform the public, journalists, and leaders about the issues, attitudes, and trends shaping our world. Studying trends in U.S. religion is a key part of the center's long-standing research agenda. To learn more about the Religious Landscape Study and dive into the data, visit pewresearch.org/RLS. And we thank them for sponsoring this show. I'm going to move to a different story that just happened this week. I don't know how much you've been following this. It involves Scott Adams. Who is Scott Adams?
Oh, yeah, he died last night.
He did die.
Scott Adams.
I promise you all, this looks great on video.
Yeah, I did a really cool dance. Maybe I'll clip it and post it somewhere. It was so good. Scott Adams is the Dilbert guy. And roundly one of the worst human beings who's ever walked this terrible earth we live on.
Mostly for Dilbert.
He built a castle with Dilbert's stupid fucking head as one of the turrets.
Oh my God.
Have you not seen that?
I have not seen
Oh my God, I'll pull it up while you talk about whatever you're going to talk about. My
the guy who made the Dilbert comic strip, proving you don't have to be funny to be a cartoonist.
Oh, and don't worry, that strip was not funny, but his tie did the little flip thing. So
there you go.
It's a comic.
So yeah, he died at 68 of prostate cancer. He was also super racist. He was a Trump supporter. He was a Holocaust denier. He was anti-vax. He loves his ivermectin. And
I can't believe he died. That's so weird. It sounds like he has such a good grip on his medical history.
I know,
This is the Dilbert house.
Oh, dear God, the Dilbert house is insane.
It's so stupid. We'll post it.
That is the dumbest thing.
Can I beauty blog this?
Sure. Show the camera.
Yeah.
Show the camera. There we go.
Right. So good.
So I don't even want to talk about all the reasons, all the horrible stuff he said, because that would be an entire episode by itself. But I do want to focus on how in the past couple of weeks, he's very clear about the fact that, hey, I'm not going to live much longer. He's made videos about this.
Yeah, and we've all been telling him that we can't wait till he dies.
That's
often
how
as we
you
could.
work. He used his final weeks to promote Christianity in such a weird way, though. Like, so earlier this month, when he announced that, hey, I don't have long to live, just letting you all know, this is like January 4th, he did a live stream.
We're like, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, he actually talked about how he appreciated Christians who attempted to convert him. He's just non-religious in general. But he said, I appreciate Christians who try to convert me because, quote, how would I believe that you believe your own religion if you're not trying to convert me?
Literally, Penn Jillette said this 20 years ago.
He very much did.
Like, what are you talking about? These men think they come up with these, like, original thoughts and, like, good news. A Vegas magician said it 20 years before you even thought about it.
Just you wait. He then explained,
oh, God.
Don't worry, everyone. I'm going to soon announce my deathbed conversion. I'm going to read this directly. This is verbatim.
It's not a deathbed conversion if you're planning for it.
If you plan it in advance, I know. Here's what he said.
It's just theatrics.
So you're going to hear for the first time today that it is my plan to convert. So I still have time, but my understanding is you're never too late. And on top of that, any skepticism I have about reality would certainly be instantly answered if I wake up in heaven. Like, if you go to heaven, you'll be like, well, I guess Christians were right. Okay, wait, I'm not
Christians
done.
think atheists are.
Yeah. He's a God's Not Dead screenwriter now. I do believe that the dominant Christian theory is that I would wake up in heaven if I have a good life. I don't necessarily have to, state something in advance. That's not true.
Also, good news, you won't. You didn't live a good life, you won't find out.
Hold that thought.
Great.
And so, to my Christian friends, yes, it's coming. His death. So you don't need to talk me into it. I am now convinced that the risk reward is completely smart. If it turns out there's nothing there, I've lost nothing. But I've respected your wishes and I like doing that. If it turns out there is something there and the Christian model is the closest to it, I win. So, with your permission, I promise you that I will convert. But I probably won't spend much time in that phase. So don't expect it to happen today, okay? But argument made, argument accepted. Unquote.
Did he think he invented that?
He invented Pascal's wager. That's why it's now called Scott Adams' wager.
That's Pascal's wager is like
Atheism 101.
First thing you learn, because that's what gets thrown at used to. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't talk to that many normies.
Let's say you started a YouTube channel where you are talking about atheism. This is video 1.
Wager. Is he going to tell me about like not proving that there's a teapot circling the moon or whatever?
Right. So the basic idea is that if you believe in the Christian God, Pascal's wager says, if you believe in the Christian God and it turns out atheists are right, oh well, no big deal. You wasted some time praying, but it's not the end of the world. But if you're an atheist and it turns out Christianity is true, well, you're doomed to spend eternity in hell. So the thinking goes, at least this is the way people use
that
Pascal's
God is
wager.
an idiot, and
it's better to play it safe and
on
accept Jesus.
I'm going to put a fake mustache on and just mosey through those pearly gates.
And you're mentioning some of the problems with that theory, which is one,
thank you.
You're not just wasting time, you are wasting money, you are wasting relationships
also,
and basic human decency, depending on how conservative you are.
Even on top of that, like, say you're one of these Catholic Church people, like, do you think that God is looking down and being like, oh, yeah, you definitely didn't waste any time or resources being Christian? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, this is the thinking behind like, Protestant
Christians, which is if you accept Jesus, who cares what else you've done?
Yeah, that's true. Right? I guess that's... Boy, that
actions
really is the
matter.
crux of this terrible religion, is that actions don't matter.
Also, if you accept Pascal's wager, you're like, if you believe in bullshit, the response to Pascal's wager, I mean, if you're believing in bullshit because you think statistically it's better off for you in the long run, that has repercussions elsewhere, because if you're going to believe bullshit in that regard, guess what happens when someone says, hey, science says vaccines work, but you're Scott Adams. You say, no, I want ivermectin. I want to treat my cancer with bullshit. Well, glad that one worked out for him. There's also never going to be any evidence that tells you the Christian option is the correct one. So what sort of risk-reward calculation is this? And also, the most obvious response is that if you say, I'm going to go ahead and go with Christianity here because my statistical model points me in that direction, that feels disingenuous. And I think a lot of Christians would say, well, you're not actually accepting Jesus.
Right.
You're just saying you're Christian for shits and giggles. And like, you don't actually believe it, which, Jesus knows what's in your heart.
That's what I'm always... So... Like the same thing with like basically the whole Catholic doctrine of that truly, that was like my introduction to understanding how Catholic...
Which Catholic doctrine are we talking about?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Just the general thing of like, you couldn't read my thoughts. That was really rude of you. Of the idea of no matter what you do, if you confess to it, you're fine. Like that was my introduction to it, was like learning about like, not to brag, my family... I'm definitely descended from like rum runners and some gangsters in the New York Italian scene. And what I would hear growing up is like, oh yeah, these people would go out Saturday night and like do all these terrible things and murder people and drink when they weren't supposed to. And
go to church on Sunday.
Go to church Sunday, confess, squeaky clean.
And maybe Scott Adams realized everything he was saying was utterly stupid, because after that live stream, he posts online, I appreciate the outpouring of suggestions and questions, but what happens next is between me and Jesus. I won't be responding to your well-intentioned messages on this topic. And then in parentheses, there are a lot. And then after he died yesterday, but like Tuesday, a message was posted to his social media account from beyond the grave. I think it's from like his former partner or something, but in that final message, it's one of those like 2-page, like he wrote this letter before he died. I'm posting it here. And it's one of those, if you're reading this, it's because I'm dead sort of letters. But in that letter, here's what he says regarding the Christianity thing. Many of my Christian friends have asked me to find Jesus before I go. I'm not a believer, but I have to admit the risk-reward calculation for doing so looks attractive.
That's my favorite commandment.
So here I go. I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I look forward to spending an eternity with him. Lowercase him, by the way. The part about me not being a believer, about me not being a believer should be quickly resolved if I wake up in heaven. I won't need any more convincing than that, and I hope I am still qualified for entry.
So he's every guy in every comment section of every social media post of all time, because there's this sort of like classic white dude thing of technically if I do this, then I'm doing fine.
Right.
Legally speaking, technically even though I'm not a believer, technically I will become a believer.
If I say I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
But very much you guys, I ran some calculations and I'm going to just go ahead and put this out there. But there's nothing in that paragraph about here's why I accept Jesus.
Did he say something about statistic now? What did he say about?
I have to admit the risk reward calculation for becoming a Christian looks attractive.
Well, especially when you're doing a literal deathbed conversion, there's no risk. You're just writing some dumb shit down. That way we don't have to hear your own dumb thoughts.
Can I also say that according to his letter, and no one's picked up on this, so there's no way I'm the only one to pick up on this. His letter opens with, "My body failed before my brain. I am of sound mind as I write this, January 1st, 2026. But the live stream where he said all this was on January 4th, which means chronologically, on January 1st, he said, I accept Jesus Christ as my
deathbed
Lord and Savior.
Conversion, the whole thing.
And then 3 days later did a live stream where he's like, I don't know if I believe in this stuff, but I guess it sounds pretty good. So, I'm not doing it yet, you guys. But before I go, I will accept Jesus.
Do Christians feel good about that? Is that a W?
That means he wrote down, I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
And then
days later, he's like, I don't know about this, but I'm sure I'll get around to it.
Oh,
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Insane.
I don't think
prostate cancer is a terrible way to go, too.
I don't think his biggest fans are able to piece together that to-date timeline.
Does
but
he have
okay.
fans?
He has 3.
He has a castle turret.
If all of that was an attempt, though, to get the final stories about his life to override all of his shitty beliefs, to some extent, it kind of worked. There was a story from the National Catholic Register last week focusing on his conversion, and here's the headline: Dilbert cartoonist Scott Adams takes Pascal's wager, vows to become Christian. That article spent virtually, I don't think it spent any time on his right-wing extremism.
Oh, sure. None of that matters.
Focus on the families. Daily Citizen posted an article after that live stream where they said Dilbert Scott Adams credits evangelizing friends with leading him to Christ. And that story ignored the right-wing extremism.
Okay.
And it made a plea to other Christians. You guys keep annoying people into belief because it totally works.
Oh, I forgot about that piece of it. Oh, God damn it.
And there were plenty of commenters on that live stream and other places who seriously believed his last-ditch attempt to get into heaven would work, and not that it was some calculated tool to earn some goodwill after spending years spreading lies and hate.
Wouldn't you be so offended if somebody tried to scam their way into heaven? If you were a true dyed-in-the-wool Christian and you believe this shit with your whole heart, and I understand a W is a W for them, they got a new Christian, but
But if you're a Christian missionary in Minneapolis trying to drive home to your family and you get shot and murdered by ICE, well, you deserve hell.
Yeah, I guess.
But Scott Adams, that's the real deal because he wrote a paragraph accepting Jesus.
Yeah, I just don't. I feel like that's somebody who never showed up to class all year, aces a test at the end, or just shows up to class at the end of the year and becomes valedictorian. Yeah. And it's just whoa, everybody else actually put in work and lived their life in a way that didn't make people.
You get an award for being the best student of the year. It's wait, what did you do though? We've all worked here.
Do you know working?
That is a generic problem people have had with as long as you believe in Jesus, all is forgiven.
Yeah, we should have a problem with that. It's fucked.
Right.
Also, man, working in a barn really changed when the ivermectin thing came out because ivermectin is all over the place. It's worse to wherever. We just have stocks of it.
That's
and
our thing. What are you doing?
Don't take this away from horse girls. We know how to do a little bit of medicine, and don't take that away from us. I can dress a wound. I can give horse dewormer eye drops.
I will say, I want to have empathy, and yet if you took ivermectin for cancer because Trump told you to, that's like Herman Cain going to
I just
COVID rallies.
I just truly,
Do I feel bad? You brought this on yourself at that point.
Listen, if anything good
Though I will say prostate cancer, there wasn't a cure, so I don't even feel bad that this guy's like, I'll try ivermectin or whatever he tried.
No.
It's like, no, that's not going to help you.
But I also wonder, like, listen, people who want to eat ivermectin maybe don't have great relationships with the medical professionals in their lives. So I'm just wondering if he was going in for regular checkups, because those matter.
Idea.
My dad is a prostate cancer survivor. Get that shit checked out, boys. And those of you with prostates, I don't know, just get it checked out. My dad's a survivor. He's still around. He's still kicking. Mm-hmm. He texts me that he's worried somebody's going to murder me. Don't worry, Dad.
There we go.
I'll be fine.
Adams could have used his final words to maybe apologize for spreading lies.
No.
He did not do that. And again, he didn't talk about embracing anything associated with Christianity. Nothing about, here's what the faith taught me.
No, it's
here's
like a video
what beliefs we should hold true. Here's what I learned from Jesus. He did the bare minimum as a side hustle to win over the dumbest people in the country.
And to what end? Like, what was he trying to get out of these goons? That he was like, he's going to die in 2 days.
So that Christianity becomes like the lead in his obituaries and not, hey, this racist dude who made Dilbert died.
Wait, do you think that was what his motivation was?
I mean, it's not sincerity.
No, of course it's not sincerity, but I think it's covering his own ass. I think he genuinely thinks that Pascal's wager is like a bet he should take.
Which tells you how intelligent this man is. I mean,
he made a Dilbert turret.
This guy spent his entire cartooning career. The whole purpose of Dilbert in all the strips is that the people in power, your bosses, have no clue what they're doing.
Correct.
And now his whole shift in the past several years has been the most incompetent people in government are the leaders we truly need. Like, he didn't take his own advice.
Yeah, it's...
But he knows his audience. He knows they're idiots.
Yeah,
he knows people will rush to praise him because it boosts their narrative that if you evangelize enough...
Well, listen, if all of these people stand for absolutely nothing, that it's very easy to persuade them to like come over to your side or think that you came to their side of thinking, because they're not, these people are not going to be critical about whether or not this man was a good Christian. They are going to take the W and be like, oh, a Christian is dead, I guess. I don't know exactly what they're excited about.
That's it.
Yeah.
Bye, Scott.
See you never.
Right. Let's talk about a totally different story in Texas. This is a lawsuit that involves Ken Paxton, the attorney general, who is running for Senate.
Oh.
And he just sued his own state's Department of Public Safety and claimed religious discrimination is going on there.
So this is Texas?
In Texas, Ken Paxton is suing the Department of Public Safety for religious discrimination. So here's what the story is. According to his lawsuit, the Department of Public Safety puts out a book for drivers, like a safety book. Every state has some version of this, and that's it. It just says, here are the rules of the road. Here's what you got to do when you're driving. Does anyone read it? No. Maybe if you're taking your license exam to get your driver's license and you're 15, 16 years old, or you're older and getting your license. That's it. Yeah. That's the only time you open this book.
Truly.
Right? Apparently, according to the lawsuit, there is a law in place that specifically prohibits religious advertising in that book. This is what Ken Paxton is going after. The lawsuit says the Department of Public Safety and the commission members have adopted a rule prohibiting religious ads in the handbook. This rule discriminates against religious organizations' speech, allowing secular entities to purchase ad space or otherwise engage in secular speech in the handbook. And the rule in question, there is like the Texas legal code, and it says in the code, the Department of Public Safety may contract with a person or a small or large business to provide advertising in any Texas driver handbook or mailing. And it says the rules are all advertising must be in good taste, and the following subjects or types of ads cannot be included. And that list includes religious ads, controversial organizations, ballot measures, tobacco ads, ads contrary to the agency goals, political ads, gambling ads, controversial issues, alcohol ads, offensive issues, personal issues, and ads that
subjective.
Yeah, ads that mention the department anywhere in the advertisement, etc. And the rule says the Texas Driver Handbook can have advertising then. This is me summarizing it.
Sure.
You can have ads in the book.
Yeah.
You just can't have anything controversial or ideological.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to list specifics there.
Yeah.
But it's basically, nothing that's going to upset anybody. Now, Ken Paxton sees that and says, you're banning religious advertising. That violates the law. So I'm suing you to remove that line from the law.
This rises to the level of the Texas Attorney General.
He has nothing better to do. Now, all he has to do to prove his
Didn't
case.
like 30 girls die in his state for no specific reason this
didn't
summer?
they accuse him of wrongdoing? Isn't he fraudulent? Isn't he the most corrupt guy in the history of Texas politics? The answer is yes. Did his wife divorce him on, quote, biblical grounds? Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, like, he wants the attention off of that and trying to keep all the Christians in his good graces. So, all he has to do...
this stupid?
We're talking about Texas conservative Christians.
Like, I know that's like a mean...
Right now...
a needlessly mean thing to say, but like, are
Ken
they
Paxton,
so fucking stupid that they think this guy gives a shit?
Right now, Ken Paxton is beating John Cornyn in the Republican primary according to the polls. Not by much, but by a little. Cornyn is like the I'm not Ted Cruz Republican senator from Texas who is relatively boring and hardcore Republican.
Boring.
Hardcore Republican.
Okay, boo.
So if you are a Republican, you're like, well, I have the safe choice who will win any race in Texas as a Republican. Or I can go with the ultra crazy, controversial Christian guy.
Yeah, it's a real high risk, high reward situation.
Winning. If you're a Democrat, you absolutely want Ken Paxton to win that primary.
That scares me.
He is a hot mess everywhere.
Yeah, but...
Anyway, so all he has to do in his lawsuit...
Is Beto running again?
Who?
Beto?
No. All he has to do, Ken Paxton, to prove that they are discriminating against religious groups is give us like one example of like a restaurant saying we want a Pizza Hut ad in the handbook and them saying yes, and a church saying we want our ad in the book and them saying no. Like that's all you need, right? Ken Paxton has none of that. And you know why? Because if you look at the handbook today, guess how many ads are in it?
5.
0. There's an older version of the handbook from 2012. Guess how many ads that one has? 0. You know why? Because no one's reading the damn book. So why would you pay for an ad in the driver's manual?
Oh my God.
That's why. It would be weird to see product placement in it. That's like putting your ad in the dictionary.
Oh,
no one's reading it.
Christ.
So they don't do ads. So, like, here's where we're at. The law on paper says ads are allowed in the handbook.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence the Department of Public Safety accepts any ads.
Are there any applications?
There are no applications. There's no evidence of discrimination because there's no evidence that they take ads. And even if you wanted to place an ad, I'm sure the Satanic Temple would love to do that or something. Guess what? If you go to their website to find details on where do I send my money, it doesn't exist. You can't put an ad in the handbook. And literally, when a reporter reached out to the Department of Public Safety about this lawsuit, they said, we don't use ads in the driver's handbook, and we've had no discussions with the Attorney General about the subject, which means Paxton did not even call them to say, are you discriminating?
Oh, he just read the thing.
Read the thing, and he probably told his minions, find me evidence of discrimination. They said this, and he's like, done.
Any place that
filed.
Christians are not like allowed to run roughshod over everything.
Right. There is no evidence anyone in his office even bothered to make a single phone call to another state agency. Hey, does this claim have any validity to it? None.
Oh my Christ.
Now, one of the interesting aspects of this stupid lawsuit is that in his defense, he cites a case that atheists won in court as proof of discrimination. And here's the backstory, because it's been a while, so I don't know if anyone remembers this.
First of all, my culture is not your costume.
In 2012, there was a group called the Northeastern Pennsylvania Free Thought Society, and they wanted to place an ad on buses. This is back in the day when there were a lot of atheist billboards and ads. So they wanted to place an ad on buses specifically in the County of Lackawanna Transit System, which goes by COLTS, Colts. So they wanted to place an ad on Colts buses. And it was funny because there were a lot of billboards at the time with atheist slogans and whatnot.
Wasn't your face on one of them?
I was on many a billboard. Oh. Sure.
Because you're the only non-white person they could.
Damn right. So their ad specifically said the word atheists, period.
I remember this.
And next to that, they said the NEPA Free Thought Society with their URL and American Atheists with their URL. And that's quite literally the least offensive atheist ad ever.
Oh, God, that warms my heart.
Which was kind of the point.
Yeah.
They were basically saying, like, you can't say no to this. It's totally not offensive.
It's just a word.
It's just a word and a couple of links to websites.
Yeah, like, which you can't click on a bus.
Colts rejected the ad and said it was too controversial somehow. And the group appealed, and Colts kept saying no. They said, we will not allow our transit vehicles or property to become a public forum for the debate and discussion of public issues. And the response, of course, is we're not debating. We're not discussing. We literally just have the word atheists on here. But to avoid controversy, they tried again. They submitted another design. It said atheist, period. And it just had NEPA Free Thought Society with their URL. They took off American Atheists. That ad was also rejected. And after that, Colts passed a new policy forbidding all ads that promote the existence or non-existence of a supreme being or deity or other religious belief, which is funny because the whole story here is there's an atheist group. The atheist group tried one more time. This time they just removed the word atheists and they just said NEPA Free Thought Society. Here's our URL. And like, we're not even promoting anything.
It's just
anymore.
The name of our group.
Right. And Colt said that one was okay.
Okay.
And that's confusing because they're like, how is it that the word atheists is controversial, but free thought is okay? They're practically synonymous.
People get weird about the A word.
But that acceptance was kind of the evidence they needed that Colts is discriminating against atheists. So they went to court over this, and they said one of the arguments is Colts has accepted plenty of religious ads for churches and ministries, but they rejected our atheism one.
Oh, interesting.
We have that evidence. And after years of legal wrangling, this lasted years. In 2019, an appellate court voted 2-1 in the atheist's favor.
All right.
And the funny thing about that, the majority opinion was written by a guy named Thomas Hardiman, who was a judge who was always on Donald Trump's short list for his 3 Supreme Court vacancies.
Ooh.
And he basically said the Colts policy discriminates based on viewpoint.
Yeah.
And that violates the First Amendment. And ultimately, Colts had to pay out over $275,000 in legal fees. So why is that relevant here? Because Paxton is saying the atheist victory in that case is why he deserves to win his case against the Department of Public Safety.
Does he have standing?
Even though the two cases are nothing alike. In Pennsylvania, there was proof Colts was allowing religious groups to promote their products and beliefs, but they were denying that to atheists. There is no similar mountain of evidence or even a shred of evidence that the Texas Department of Public Safety is hypocritical in this regard because they don't do ads, period.
I have a question. How is this different? Or is this the same guy who is like Ari, the 10 Commandments putting up in Texas classrooms? Isn't he the one he's like, nothing's happened yet, so you don't have standing to sue us on? And is this not the exact same thing?
Oh, yeah. You're calling out Ken Paxton's hypocrisy. And
I just want everybody to note the legal mind sitting at this table.
Very well done, yes.
Thank you so much. I can connect 2 dots.
Also, he wants... This is where it gets funny. If you're going to file a lawsuit, what do you want the courts to do here? And what Paxton says he wants the courts to do is step in and forbid the Department of Public Safety from rejecting ads with religious content. And the department's like, we don't do that.
Sir, this isn't Arby's.
We don't take any ads. And Paxton says, if the courts don't do this, quote, the harm to Texas citizens is imminent. Imminent.
Oh.
His lawsuit, ironically...
Wait, he doesn't say how much or how serious the harm is, but it's right around the corner.
But so courts, you got to step in. The weird thing is his lawsuit doesn't... His lawsuit doesn't require the department to sell ads at all. Which means if he wins, in big quotation marks, if he wins, the department could say, okay, we'll accept religious advertising and then keep doing what it's doing, which is we don't take any ads. And Ken Paxton would be like, see you guys, I protected religious freedom. And if he loses because they don't take ads or he doesn't have standing or there's no issue here, then he's going to be like, the courts, the damn liberal courts in Texas. The
liberal Texas courts.
Are all against Christians, and he's going to use that as a campaign thing. Like, this is manufacturing a grievance where none exists. All it does, I'm not even joking, this is a God's Not Dead scenario. It really suggests Christians are under siege no matter what reality shows. And also, the facts don't matter. Just like they didn't matter when Joe Kennedy wanted to pray at that football field.
No.
Like,
yeah, the Supreme Court fucking lied to our faces, and everyone's like, nice work. You guys are wearing robes, so we trust you.
The whole lawsuit boils down to Christians are discriminated against in Texas by the government of Texas, which is ridiculous.
Classic Texas. Classic anti-Christian Texas. Which tells you
how actual minimal discrimination there is against Christians.
This is the only thing they could find in the state of Texas. They couldn't find any
actual evidence of it, so here you go.
That is so small and petty. I fucking love it. Like, this is the definition of grasping at straws.
There you go.
Bless him.
All right, I'm jumping to a story we have covered before, but this is in another state, so it doesn't count. In Ohio, the Republican... Yeah, you'll see in a second. In October... the Ohio Senate, which is Republican majority, Ohio is a red state, top to bottom, they passed a bill requiring public school districts to teach middle and high school students that there is a proper order for a successful life. And now it's in an Ohio House subcommittee, and they are weighing this bill. They're considering this bill. So this bill says kids must be taught the success sequence. And you have to do kids have to be taught this in school, that if you want to be successful in life, you need to do 3 or 4, depending on how you count them, things in order. Here's what they are.
Is this like the Dale Carnegie thing?
No, it's much more religious.
Oh.
Here's what you got to do in order.
Okay.
Conservative, I should say. You got to first, you have to have a high school education, so graduate.
Okay.
Number 2, get a job. And number 3, marry.
Okay, so I'm
before having children.
Tick, tick, tick.
Tick, tick, tick. Therefore,
you and I have nailed this.
If you do that, the bill says, you are overwhelmingly less likely to live in poverty in adulthood.
Well,
that is what they want. So I'm going to read the specific thing.
Oh, God.
They want schools to teach that individuals who complete at least a high school education, obtain full-time work, and marry before having children are overwhelmingly less likely to live in poverty in adulthood. This must be taught to children in the public schools.
This is also like saying, like, people who take yoga 3 times a week are likely to live longer because they can afford to take yoga 3 times a week.
And the implication here is that if you don't do these things, or if you do them out of order,
and then it's your fault.
It's your fault, and you're setting yourself up for failure. And if we told
you from the time you're in first grade that if you don't do these things, you're a failure, then you have no excuse to follow the rules that we made up.
Now, when we talked about this earlier in the year, it's because Tennessee had passed a similar bill. But this is legislation that is drafted by the Heritage Foundation, the group behind Project 2025.
What is the goal? Like, what's the fucking point of this?
Oh, I will tell you. The guy who sponsored it, by the way, has also filed bills to create Charlie Kirk Memorial Day.
Oh, gross. In Ohio?
And he wants to ban books.
Even Charlie Kirk doesn't want to be honored in Ohio. I have nothing against Ohio.
The problem with this bill is that the 3 prongs that they're mentioning, they're not keys to success. They are ingredients that might help. But
being married does not make you successful.
Plenty of people skip or reorder the steps and they're doing great in life. There are plenty of people that do exactly these things in this order and have miserable lives. And that's the problem. It's not that going to college or getting married or having kids after you get married is bad. It's that if you don't do those things, it doesn't necessarily explain why you're not making as much money or you're not as healthy. They're ignoring the root causes, which is what you're getting at. So, for example, let's say you graduate high school, you get an apprenticeship, you marry your high school girlfriend, and then you guys have a baby when you're both 19. You are all following the success sequence perfectly, but you don't have life experience. You barely know yourselves. You don't have money saved up in case of emergencies.
Your brains aren't done cooking.
Your brains haven't been made yet. You don't know if the jobs you have now are the ones you're going to want. or have down the road.
Or God forbid
Meanwhile,
AI comes in and takes away 5 entire industries.
So you could follow the success sequence and not have a good life. Now, someone who stays single, focuses on her career, spends her 20s dating and having sex and traveling and saving money, then gets married to someone with a kid from a previous marriage, that person is arguably better positioned to have a successful future because some of the biggest concerns in life, money, health, self-awareness, has satisfied those things. So that person didn't follow the sequence in many ways, but like, I'll put my money on that.
Yeah.
Right? So there are exceptions in all directions. A lot of this depends on how much support do you have from your extended family? What's the job market like? What hopes and dreams do you have for the future?
What skills do you inherently have?
But that's the point. There isn't a pathway to success. There are a bunch of pathways to success.
And
but
success isn't a destination.
Yeah.
Success is just sort of something that we describe if we're feeling good about ourselves.
This bill suggests there is one best way to go through life. And guess what? It coincides with the purity culture like nonsense that conservative Christian churches tend to push on children.
Well, and it's also the thing of like, oh, all of us have followed this path and look at how powerful we are in the state house of Ohio. And it's like, oh, also people, because of people like this, there's others who truly believe that if you don't do those 3 steps, you're bad in some way, capital B bad. Right. And then you're probably going to discriminate against them
They
more.
want this taught to kids as young as grade 6 through 12.
I just don't think we should be teaching children that getting married is important. I don't think
I mean, this is where that's where the critics are getting at, right? It's why are you teaching that
why do you give a shit?
As if that's the thing. Hey, guess what? If you're single but you get a nice inheritance, you're going to be okay in many ways. Not all of them, but many. And by the way, this bill also says when you are teaching this to the 6th through 12th graders, you shall include evidence identified using the best research methods available, describing the positive personal and societal outcomes associated with the success sequence.
Sorry, so they do care about societal outcomes? Because my understanding is the whole conservative thing is like grind set, I stand on my own 2 feet, bootstraps. Nobody helped me do anything kind of thing. Yes. But if you're these children, then getting married and having children is part of the societal contract. Apparently what isn't part of the societal contract is making sure that raising children isn't a financially ruinous option for most people.
Now, what happens if the evidence shows, as it does, that the success sequence itself is misguided?
Oh,
then what?
What evidence do they have?
The bill doesn't say, well, then discard the policy. No, it just says, hey, you got to make sure these kids see the evidence that this works.
And hide the evidence that it doesn't?
But what evidence? Yeah, exactly. Another opponent, one of the opponents.
Oprah never got married. She didn't have any kids.
Well, she's famously poor. One of the opponents of the bill even noted, Ohio remains the only state in the country without statewide health curriculum standards. Which means instead of addressing those issues or having a better health curriculum statewide, they're doing this patchwork approach that is just full of holes. And the thing is, when we talked about this last time, when this was passed in Tennessee, the justification was a little more specific and just faulty logic everywhere. Their success sequence said couples who marry, then have children, have higher family incomes and lower poverty rates than their unmarried counterparts. And they also said in Tennessee that kids in, quote, stable, married parent families are more likely to excel in school. Now, all of that ignored the bigger issue, which is that if you have stability in your life in other ways, they have the luxury of getting married when they're emotionally ready for it and having kids when you're ready to take care of them and providing an environment for those kids where they can focus on school and not take care of all the other problems. That bill also said kids who were not raised in a home with married parents were twice as likely to end up in jail or prison before reaching 30 years of age.
Okay, well,
which again points to stability.
Do they also account for the fact that incarceration is the thing that leads to a lot of single parent households, and maybe that, jailing people for having pot in their pocket isn't a super great way to keep our society knit together?
If you're living in a home where married parents argue all the time, or one or two parents have to work multiple jobs to make ends meet. Those are worse for kids than living in a home with a single parent who has a really good 9-to-5 job who's available for them.
Yeah.
But instead of creating conditions for all children to have the best chance of success, however the hell they define it later in life, these Republicans are like, there's a checklist. Yeah. There's 3 things. Did you do it? And then they're patting themselves on the back for doing the bare minimum while ignoring all the conditions that they are promoting that put kids in harm's way. Yeah. Like, you don't need medical care.
I guess that does circle back to the bootstraps of it all of like, we're going to set you up to fail, but we really need you to succeed.
But we gave you a checklist.
So,
and if you fail, they're saying it's because you didn't follow the list, not because they didn't create an environment where you could succeed. It's always your fault. It's not their fault. They don't want people to know that the simplest path to guaranteed financial success is being born into a wealthy family.
Yeah, actually, my friend Andrea just sent me a clip, and I don't think it's necessarily new news, but it was something we were talking about, that your zip code has more to do with your health outcomes than basically anything else.
Yeah. In Tennessee, we discussed this when we talked about that story. There was a Democratic state representative, Afton Bain. She ran for Congress in
Afton Bain? Yep. I would remember that name. That's
she ran for Congress in a special election in a very red district. And it was tough for the Republican to the point that they needed to call in like Mike Johnson to help at this special election because
they had to call the Secretary of State for a special
speaker. Yeah, for a special election.
Speaker of the House.
And the Republican won, but like by a very single digit margin when Trump had won that district by like 30 some points. That's Afton Bain. Like, she was progressive and Mom Donnie-esque to the point where she excited the Democratic base. She just announced this week she's not running for Congress for the real congressional election. She's just going to stick to Tennessee House. But in response to that Tennessee bill, Afton Bain filed an amendment to that bill. You'll never believe, but the Republicans rejected it.
What?
But her amendment basically said, fine, you can keep your success sequence, but the amendment includes some other language like, whereas millennial women have come of age in an era marked by wage stagnation, skyrocketing student debt, unaffordable housing, and the rising cost of childcare and healthcare, all of which make marriage and family formation increasingly out of reach. And this went on for a very long time.
Yeah, I can't believe they rejected that. That's so weird.
So, maybe the most surprising thing in the Ohio bill is that there's nothing about going to church. Which is weird because conservatives have promoted studies with the same faulty logic that if you attend church, you'll make more money, you'll have fewer health problems.
Yeah.
Probably because you don't have to work on a Sunday morning and you have free time to go to church on a Sunday morning.
Yeah,
It's about stability and a social safety net. Going to church is not the reason you're successful.
No.
Marriage is not the reason you're successful. Having kids is not the reason you're successful. But if you're healthy and educated and you have the luxury of time, maybe those are things that appeal to you.
Yeah, and it's almost like people having hobbies and spare time is really good for the economy because it's like there's a whole tourism section of the economy that's suffering because nobody can afford to do anything or go anywhere. Right. I don't know. I'm just an idiot lady who didn't have kids, so what could I know? I'm clearly.
I got one last story for you.
I fell at the 1 yard line too. I got the education. I got the husband. Barren.
Failed. Let's go. Last story is in Florida.
Oh, boy.
2 Republicans there have introduced a bill that would prevent public school teachers from punishing students if they express their religious beliefs on an assignment.
Oh, thank Christ. Because I was really worried that something in Florida was going wrong and they were trying to address it. I'm really glad they're on this.
I'm going to go ahead and call
is there like a small jail in every high school that kids are getting sent to? Is that why this is such an important issue for us to address?
We'll call it the Samantha Fulnecki Act because this is in response to that woman at the University of Oklahoma. She's a junior.
How did Florida pick up on this?
Oh, they have the internet. She got a 0 on an assignment where she was supposed to write her response to a scholarly journal article, but instead of grappling with anything that article said, and she could have said anything she wanted, she turned in like a 4-page sermon that included lashing out against trans people, promoting gender roles.
I've honestly got
traditional gender roles.
So much mileage out of this story. I love when people ask me what I do, I was like, this is one of the stories we cover.
And also the university we've talked about has responded by rescinding the 0 from her record.
Sure.
And then they fired the grad student from teaching any classes in the future.
Which I read a little bit about this. Hopefully it won't impact her PhD track because you don't necessarily have to teach
in order to get that.
But so my
can
understanding,
she pay for it?
Well, listen, I'm giving you the fucking headline that I saw.
So now these Florida Republicans want to capitalize on that right-wing outrage, and they want to guarantee that never happens in Florida, even though if you read the bill, I'm not sure it does anything.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the thing. Florida has a law on the books. It's already passed. It says school districts are prohibited from discriminating against students who express their religious views on assignments. Basically, what the law as it exists in Florida says is that if you have to write an essay about the most meaningful time in your life, this is an example I'm giving, and you say the most meaningful time is when I got baptized.
Sure. When I was a baby.
Whatever. The school cannot punish you for saying that, which is fine because no one was punishing you.
Is that a rampant problem?
I'm just hypothesizing here. No one was punishing that. But the law says, well, you can't be punished for that. It's like, all right, pass the law. No one cares because no one was doing this.
How much? Do you have any sense of how much this costs to push to get a bill through?
Florida, they just burn money wherever they go. But the other thing is, like, the law, as it's written, says a student's homework and classroom assignments shall be evaluated regardless of their religious content based on expected academic standards relating to the course curriculum and requirements.
Oh, yeah. So this essay still would not have gotten through.
Like I don't know what you just said. But
with this law, the Oklahoma essay would still not have gotten through because it was bad. It was a bad essay.
The law that exists in Florida, if you turn in an essay that does do the work and you mention religion, not only was it never getting punished, there's no evidence a teacher failed you because of that. This law said, as long as you're doing the work, like teachers can still grade you based on the work you turn in. Fine. That's what it should be. That's why when this law passed in Florida, it's stupid because it wasn't happening. You didn't need a law to protect this. But also, fine. As long as teachers can grade you based on academic standards, all right, fine. Go ahead and pass your law. Okay, that's fine. That's the Republican Party for you. Like, we fixed a thing that was never broken.
100%.
Okay, fine. In recent weeks, these two Florida lawmakers, Clay Yarborough, who's a state senator, David Barrero, who's a state representative, they filed their bill, and the relevant section takes a part of the law that says, I'm paraphrasing because it's a long bill, but it says school districts can't discriminate against students on the basis of expressing a political or ideological viewpoint. They take that law and they say, or religious viewpoint. Okay, fine. That's kind of included in ideological, but okay, you explicitly inserted religion. But then they say this: a student may express his or her religious, political, or ideological beliefs in coursework, artwork, and other written and oral assignments free from discrimination or academic penalty. So, in short, there is a ban in Florida on religious discrimination already.
Yeah.
They're expanding it to political and ideological discrimination. So it goes all ways. That was always implied, but okay.
Yeah.
But they specifically say that if you express those views, you cannot receive an academic penalty. And that, I think, is what this bill is all about. Because Samantha Fulnecki submitted her religious beliefs.
Terrible.
She got penalized for that. And I think these Florida lawmakers are saying if anyone expresses their beliefs, political beliefs, religious beliefs, there can be no academic penalty. That's what I think they think they're doing. But if the goal is to stop the Fulnecki thing from happening in Florida, it doesn't make any sense because, as we all know, Samantha Fulnecki was never punished for expressing her religious views.
No.
She earned a 0 because she didn't do the damn assignment.
Right.
So her beliefs were odious, fine. But like, here's my question. If Samantha Fulnecki turns in that paper in Florida, would this new bill stop her from getting a 0?
No,
it wouldn't. Because again,
it was still a garbage paper.
It was still a garbage paper. And this is the thing. Why do these Republicans think they are fixing a problem? I don't know. The bill also says students like Fulnecki who believe they are harmed by a violation of this new law could file a lawsuit. And if they win, it doesn't matter what the court says, you are guaranteed to receive statutory punitive damages worth anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000.
$15 to $25,000?
$15,000 to $25,000, which means...
So now we're incentivizing kids to write garbage papers.
Well, you're incentivizing them to file lawsuits if they get punished for a paper where they didn't complete the assignment, but they mentioned Jesus in it, because on the off chance you get a crazy right-wing judge who says, yeah, they punished you because you're Christian.
Oh, my God.
Now the state has to give you $15,000 to $25,000 as a reward.
Yeah, this is no good.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Did it fix anything? No. Does it actually stop teachers from punishing you if you mention Jesus? No, it doesn't. But if a student thinks that they got punished because of their religion, there's a motivation to sue. And there's plenty of right-wing groups that are willing to jump on board for that payday.
I am just imagining...
The Freedom from Religion Foundation's Action Fund, they released this statement. This is from Mickey Dolenz, who is their regional government affairs manager.
It's never Mickey Dolenz,
Nope.
and I always want it to be.
This bill implies that ordinary academic standards, such as relevance, accuracy, and critical analysis, must take a back seat when a student invokes religion or ideology. That undermines educational integrity and opens the door to religious favoritism. And for what it's worth, I emailed both of those Florida lawmakers who sponsored this bill, and I said, do you have any evidence of students being discriminated against due to their ideology? And also, is this bill supposed to be a response to the Fulnecki situation?
Good questions.
They did not respond to me. But there you go.
Well, you asked really good questions, Howard.
I
That's
did.
Too bad.
They were simple.
I am just trying to imagine, the year's 2002, and I write a garbage essay in high school, get an F, and I bring it home to my parents and say, I'm going to sue about this. I would still be hearing about it to this day. Like, remember when Jess was so stupid she wanted to sue her school? Like, this is like, why?
But you will be successful as long as you graduate.
That's true. And look at me now, Dad. Oh God. I just truly. It's just a game. It's just a game to them.
Yeah,
the rest of us are just trying. No, the rest of us are just trying to move through our life and do as much good for ourselves and our neighbors as we can. Well, I shouldn't say that about most people, me. But these people are trying to get the cheat codes to life. Is what it seems to me.
And being Christian on paper is what matters.
This feels almost like people who buy scratch off or lottery tickets every week of if we keep throwing this shit at the wall, eventually I personally am going to benefit from it, right? That eventually there's going to be a law that says Christians don't have to pay taxes, and I'm happy to be on that team. They move through life trying to make it so easy for themselves and to be spiteful to those with whom they disagree.
And this is just an invitation to bad faith claims of discrimination. That would make life harder for instructors who now can't grade a paper the way they want to. They should, because if you give a 0 to the wrong kid,
right,
what are they going to do? They'll complain about it, file a lawsuit. Think about what that does to school districts. Because if you flood the zone with enough shit, teachers may hesitate before holding students accountable, which is what conservatives need, because there's no other way for them to meet the success
And you're
sequence.
offering up Florida money to people. You're just saying hey, you guys, we've got this pocket of money. If you write the special right letter and the right words and use the right code phrases.
Put Jesus in all your essays.
Put Jesus in there, then you're going to get a chunk of this money that so what, Florida's going to have to pay for the attorneys who are going to have to look over this and the actual money itself and however much it takes to investigate everything. I'm sorry, Florida, I did not realize y'all had so much money. I mean, I know you have to have your own discrete insurance company because no insurance company worth its salt would insure property in Florida because it is sinking into the ocean like Atlantis. But yeah, no, 100%. Let's make sure kids don't get 0s on their essays. That definitely rises to the level of the Attorney General of Florida. Fuck, man.
There you go. So, what are we talking about?
Oh, that was it.
Bonus. That's it for now.
Oh, boy. Okay. So I'm in the midst of a rewatch of Friends. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm trying to figure out the lighting. Every time I move forward, I get washed out. I'll figure that out later. Talking about that, my husband and I, for a New Year's Eve after we recorded, we got drunk and watched the Celebrity Traders, and I would love to tell you about that experience.
I think we're legally obligated to talk about the Bears.
Oh, I actually do have a fairly funny story about the Bears as a non-football
Perfect.
Boy, gang, I've never felt like more of a killjoy in my entire life than I do right now because everybody just wants to talk about the Bears and I have
There's nothing else good happening in this.
There's also a theory, have you heard this, that the Cubs winning the World Series opened a portal into hell and hopefully the Bears winning the Super Bowl will close it again?
Love it.
Love this, and I love when Chicago's the literal center of the universe.
All right. Please go to patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast to support this show. Get your ad-free bonus episodes. You can leave a review on all the podcasting sites. You can get your merch at friendlyatheistpodcast.com. Stickers. I just saw a giant pile of them going out in the mail soon. And leave a review. What's our latest review? Give me something good.
Yeah, this is from Soulmead, Solmead. Love this podcast. I've been listening for years to this podcast. It is amazing. Hemant's research tied to Jessica's passion. Every time Jessica sings Oklahoma, I'm right there with you. You two are a bright spot in a weary world. Thank you for everything you do. I don't know if Jessica is
I like it. I'm calling
I like
you
it
that
a
now.
lot. Oh, I thought that was going to be like our celebrity couple name.
Oh.
Like Hemant and Jessica.
I see what that
Hess.
is.
Ooh, Hess.
Okay.
Friendly Atheist. Hess. Okay. Our bonus is next. You can see video on Patreon for $5 a month. $3 a month, $5 a month, unclear.
Whatever the
website says.
$5 for the bonus
and
video.
Last round of stickers is going out this week. So
all right.
we will
see you
talk to you next week. Bye.